Welcome back to the WPF Power Rankings. We got weeks 7 and 8 due to a little video mishap. So unfortunately, we lost the original recording for week 7. So we're just going to combine week 7 and 8 to kind of get caught up before we do the mid-season trade deadline type analysis for the next video coming up. But number 1, we have a new leader. I'm finally giving him the spot. We've got the Midwest Mawile, who've taken over the top spot. They've just been on fire this whole season. Ever since week 2 has gone on, they haven't lost since then. As we saw against Farmland week 7, had a great work there. Kind of crushed their opponent with making great use of Stoutland, just kind of saving it to the right moment. He's just been playing lights out since then. Another win, week 8, just clutch victory over Twin Leaf. Just kind of waiting the right moment, making great use of Weavile throughout the season. As we consider Midwest, honestly, is up there with San Antonio and the favorites right now to kind of take the league. We'll be interested to see who ends up winning the World Islands division and the rematch coming up here in the next couple weeks with Tennessee Red Gyarados. But honestly, Midwest, I would probably pick them to win it this go around as they are just on fire. And number 2, we've got the San Antonio Skrelps, who are dropping down from that number 1 spot after losing to Milwaukee in week 7, but then picking up a strong, important victory against Boston in week 8. They had a pretty strong performance against Boston with making great use of Zeraora as usual, keeping Alola Mola alive to kind of check the Blacephalon. Unfortunate about the Fire Blast miss for Boston, but honestly, Mawile just punched through some stuff here. Zeraora did its thing. Porygon 2 is always there. And then Ferrothorn, we got to see it a little bit. Haven't seen much of that this season. Surprising to see him bring it this week against the Blacef team, but honestly made it work. Great work by San Antonio. They continue to plow through teams and make a strong push to the playoffs, and the Gold Conference is pretty tight right now, so each week important matches are happening. And then at number 3, we're going to have the Reunited Kingdom sitting there steady, honestly playing quite well. Got to see a nice little physical Dragon Dance Megaladios set, putting in some work. Unfortunately, doesn't get the sweep after it gets set up because little mind games there. Cronus kind of got him with the Sucker Punch bluff. Cool to see that, but honestly was able to, after Megaladios went down, he was able to chunk enough of the team that he was able to kind of use Toxapex to wall some stuff. Scrafty comes in, sets up, wears down the remainder of the team, and then just between what he had left, he was able to kind of finish that out and continue on another strong win streak here. And then number 4, we have the Boston Red Sox, who are looking pretty smooth right now. They're doing well. Had a strong win here against Tennessee in week 7. In week 7 against the Tennessee Red Gyarados, having a strong, big win there. As we see the Seismitoad, the Adrenaline Orb Tech. I've been waiting to see this all season, and I knew he was going to be the first person to bring it against me. But Tennessee had honestly, this thing tore Tennessee's team apart. This was great prep by Boston, using Seismitoad to kind of chunk through a big portion of the team. Rocks were huge throughout the match. Boston continues to play well. Unfortunately, had a tough matchup against San Antonio in week 8, but not too worried about it as they're sitting in a prime spot to they're in control of their own destiny. They continue to win. They should make the playoffs, and honestly are doing fantastic so far. That was great tech on Seismitoad. Pretty much, I think went through like over half the team. That was really nice. I was not ready for that at all. It kind of wrecked my world. But good stuff by Boston. They're kind of, like I said, they're in control of their own destiny. And in number 5, we've got the Tennessee Red Gyarados, who've had dropped down just a little bit out of the top 5 from last week's power ranking video, but had a great match against Milwaukee. We saw them lose to, we saw myself lose to Boston last week. I wasn't ready for Seismitoad. It was the one thing I didn't want him to bring, and he brought it. But this was honestly a great endgame here. This was a ton of fun against Milwaukee, who was on quite the win streak at the time. Was able to kind of navigate through the end there with the end, with the Rotom Heat, keep it alive as needed, and then use the Gyarados just enough to kind of whittle down the Donphan and then just kind of win the little mind game there. But great match. I had a blast. That was a lot of fun. I'm not going to lie. I had a good time with that. Milwaukee, as we continue to see, is also in control of their own destiny. We'll get to them here in a little bit. And in at number 6, we've got the Indianapolis Volts, who are having quite some time, having a little bit of fun with that Mega Gyarados, as we're going to see here in week 7, get a big sweep 5-0 against Kiwi here, former Marlboro Magnetons. Going to have a new coach now, but regardless of that, great stuff here by Indianapolis gets Gyarados in on the Bronzong. That's a big sweep here. Then gets another win here in Week 8, and they are just climbing their way up too, fighting it out with the Reunited Kingdom, Seattle, and Boston for that last spot in the playoffs. And all right, we got number 7. And we got the Grants Raptors at number 7. They have had a quiet rise up the power rankings this season as they are kind of on fire. As we saw the past couple weeks, just kind of doing work. We see here against Violet City, early on pressuring his opponent with Circuitry, just kind of chunked down on the big walls, was able to get Cartana knocked down enough to where Klefki can come in and kind of pick it off. Like the T-Wave tech was nice, it was well played. And then the Quillfish, I shudder when I see this thing. I've been on the receiving end of it. It's honestly a good mon, surprising for what it is. A good pick, and like if used right, as we see here, did a lot of work this week. Was able to kind of, it did the finishing touches to get the win. So the Grants Raptors are a team to watch out. I believe they're on a 4-game win streak right now going into Week 9, and I think I got to face them, so great. Another hot team I'm not looking forward to facing. And let's see here. We've got number 8. We've got Milwaukee. It's the Milwaukee Stantler, who were able to get the first win against the San Antonio Scrubs this season. We're able to knock them off. We're on a hot streak going in to Week 8, and honestly had probably match of the week last week in Week 8, but this was great. Saves the fake out normal gem to the right moment to kind of get in and clean, and just kind of clutched it with the Hitmonlee. It was great work by Milwaukee. Honestly, this team is also in a great spot right now. It's sitting second in their division. No, I think they're first in the division right now, and they're just doing work to get themselves into the playoffs. And we'll continue to see how they go. I'm excited to see how this team does because they are hot ever since the Comets. They've been doing it. And then at number 9, we've got the Seattle Skarmory, who we get to see Latias do some work. This team has actually come together, and they are plowing through their opponents right now. They got a tough match against Boston. That's actually going to be big. That has a lot for playoff implications. But Seattle is playing very well since they're coming back after a little bit of a layoff. And it's cool to see this team finally mesh. I think he's kind of figured out how to use each of these mons because the team chemistry is looking really good. Celesteela is always there. Charizard X is starting to do work. Vaporeon, something that we know that this coach is very comfortable using, is continuing to do what it does. Latias making it. And I liked how Ditto was used actually in this match right here against Twin Leaf. It was actually very well done. I was impressed with that. I was able to kind of get a lot of intel throughout the match, and then just kind of stalled things out a little bit and set up the right pivots. But good match by Seattle. I'm excited to see how this match against Boston goes here in Week 9. And all right, at number 10, we have a team that has fallen down just a little bit. They won their match in Week 7, I believe. Yep, Week 7. They had a tough. They should have won the Week 8 match. That was unfortunate. The hacks kind of got them there. Let's see here. Give me just a second. As we see here against Miami, this was really nice by Madison to kind of, once he figured out what the final move was on Clef, to realize that Necrozma was able to would be able to win this matchup 1v1 against the Cosmic Power Clef. Great stuff by his opponent. I'm not going to take that away from him, but just unfortunately not having the coverage to get through Necrozma kind of ruined that set. But good job with Panda just kind of figuring it out when to get Necrozma back in there for sure. I liked the Endeavor on the Slurpuff. That was really cool. And honestly would be in a better position in terms of playoff positioning right now if Week 8 would have gone his way. That was just an unfortunate turn of events. He was pretty set up again with the Necrozma, which has been honestly he's usually great this whole season. So honestly, I'm excited to see how this shapes up. I feel like with his team, he should be able to power his way through into getting to the playoffs. Just sitting right now, he's one of the teams that definitely controls his own destiny, and with the strength level of this coach, I'm pretty sure that he'll be able to get into the playoffs for sure. And all right, at number 11, we're going to have the Miami Manectric, who we got to see do some cool stuff this past week against against Madison, and had a good match against Indianapolis as well. Just unfortunately got that low roll on the Gyarados was huge. That was kind of sad to see because that really changed the match a bit there. It was probably still going Indianapolis' way, but played great in both matches. And then just unfortunately, the Clefable set would have worked had it had a little bit more coverage. But honestly, good stuff. I like what this coach has brought to the league. He's been a fun coach, good energy. He's still in position to make a run. He's not out yet, so he's going to have to really get things in high gear if he wants to continue making a push for the playoffs. But Miami's doing well. We're going to keep them where they're at in the power rankings. Dropped just a bit, but this is a strong coach. He's picking up from a team he didn't draft. Not doing too bad with it as well. So we'll see how this goes continuing on. And then at number 12, we have the Violet City Vileplume, who have unfortunately been on quite a downslide as of late. Had the Reunited Kingdom in week 7. Just were not able to punch through Toxapex. Got to see Mega Glalie do a little bit of work, kind of cool, but just did not bring it up. This was the longest match, I think, of the season, by the way. Props to them for getting through it. I feel like Violet City's always in these long matches, but just did not have the offensive pressure to really get through Toxapex. Umbreon, unfortunately, wasn't able to do enough. Kartana wasn't able to plow through, but Violet City still, they're not officially out of the playoff race, so we'll see how this continues on. They have a chance to at least play spoiler and kind of make a last-minute run. As they're sitting with 3 wins, so they're just kind of outside that last team fighting for playoff spot. And then at 13, we're gonna have a new coach taking over. We got the Sutopolis Shelter. New coach Blaze 3 made some moves. We kind of dropped him down a little bit, even though he did have the win there in week 8. He wasn't the coach at the time. The team won based off a little bit of hacks, quite a bit, to be honest. But the free agent moves that he made, I'm not particularly a big fan of so far. We'll see if he's able to use it. Not going to knock it before we try it. We've seen some crazier stuff go on here, but just didn't like the free agent moves that were brought in as he came in. So we'll see how he does in the remainder of this season here. Looking forward to seeing how this new coach plays. And then we got coming in number 14 again. We're going to have the Farmland City Farfetch, who played very well week 7. Honestly, gave Midwest more than they were ready. Made great use of the eel. Mega Ardino is bulky, man. Like, taking a Zen headbutt from Mega Mandacham is insane. I'm impressed with it. I've said it every week that Mega Ardino has done well. The burn was huge in this match. I feel like he may have been the team to knock off Midwest at the time, because if that Breloom was able to kind of get in, punch some stuff, would have done great. Unfortunately, not having hazard removal was kind of his downfall in this match, because they ended up losing the Marowak, and then the chip on everything just kind of started wearing down. But I really liked the tech that was brought this week. The Blaziken was cool. The specials, that was pretty neat. So we'll look forward to seeing how Farmland kind of wraps up the rest of the season. They still got some stuff going on. They've made one last free agent move, picking up Terrakion, getting rid of Azumarill, so hopefully we'll see a little bit of power coming from that. And then at number 15, we've got the GWS Gladiators. Think I nailed it that time. At number 15. I think that's the first time all season that I haven't butchered their name on the recording here. But again, GWS is still looking for that first win. Great KO here with the Sylveon on the Persian here in a minute. But the one thing I would say for this team, if they need to improve, I feel like they stay in too long on certain things. Like, he stayed in on the Mew forever with Sylveon, even though he wasn't getting any of the, it was obvious he wasn't going to win that matchup, so he should have swapped out, as he found out a few turns later that would work. But if I were to say one thing for GWS, that's what I would improve on, is just kind of knowing when to make your swaps a little bit more, just kind of the flow of the game just a tiny bit better, because that just seems like it's kind of hindering him a little bit right there. But I'm sure he's going to get at least one win before the season's up. So looking forward to see how that is. I wonder if he I think Twin Leaf and GWS play actually this season. So that'll be a fun matchup to see if they're each team still looking for their first win. But not a bad match, not a bad couple weeks. Just like I said, make some better moves throughout the match, and just kind of put yourself in a little better position. And then rounding out this week's power rankings, we're going to have the Twin Leaf Dynamo, who unfortunately are still looking for that first win as well. Now, we did get to see something that Wyong from B-League would love to see, offensive Mega Venu. I did like this. This was cool, using the Sun and not Mega Evolving right away. This Spadef drop was a bit unfortunate. Didn't really change the game all too much, but kind of put the Mega Venusaur on a bit of a timer, as it's going to have to Mega Evolve right here, losing that speed boost. But I liked that. Honestly, played Midwest pretty close in this match. Unfortunately, not able to get Webbs off the field, and Raw and Hazard just kind of got Hazard sacked and just kind of wore that team down. But not a bad couple weeks for Twin Leaf. I'm not sure. I'm just not sure if this was just not a good draft for him. We know he's a better battler. He's made the playoffs in the past. Just was a little just unfortunate here. So that's all we got for weeks 7 and 8 of the power rankings. Keep up the good work, guys. We're gonna have a little bit of a kind of a analysis video coming up next, actually, on how I think each team's done for the season, what I think's gonna play out for the rest of the season in terms of who makes the playoffs, who I think's gonna win the whole thing as a whole, who I think could have done better, who hasn't done as good as expected, and just like different little things, kind of just evaluate teams as a whole after the trade deadline has passed and just see how they kind of mesh up. But all right, appreciate you guys. This is Big Shane of the Tennessee Red Gyarados checking out. Remember, we've got things to do on the YouTubes. We got to like, we got to comment, we got to subscribe. Same thing every week. See you guys next time. No. We're going to keep that in because I messed it up, but I don't want to redo this cut. Later.